healthy young woman, and she succeeded to the throne in 1558. She was a superb horsewoman, very powerful constitution,
and in the past have been able to have children. Dr. Rita Backen, a psychologist from Simon Fraser University, compares Queen Elizabeth's physical traits with a genetic condition which is now called complete androgen insensitivity syndrome. People with this condition are born with both male and female sex organs. It is estimated to happen in 1 in 20,000 babies. At birth, a baby appears to have female genitalia. However, a gynecological examination would reveal no uterus or ovaries, but instead, undescended testicles. The testes produce testosterone, but the body doesn't recognize it, so the person develops the appearance of a female.
When the child is born, which will be like a normal female baby, nothing else to notice. So nobody will know whether there is any problem until the person will grow, reaches puberty. That's the time the difference will be noticed.
The late Dr. Backen's paper suggests this may have happened with Elizabeth. At birth, the midwives and doctors determined her to be a female. But at puberty, Elizabeth may have noticed the condition and decided to avoid any sexual relations. If the theory is true, it would have been Elizabeth's biggest secret, and possibly the reason she didn't marry. On her deathbed, reports claim that Queen Elizabeth firmly decreed that under no condition should her body be embalmed. Was Queen Elizabeth hiding something? The study makes the case that Elizabeth had many characteristics, sometimes associated with complete androgen insensitivity syndrome, and that individuals typically present as attractive, intelligent, and practical. And females are above average height, slim, active, athletic, with notably long and beautiful hands. But obviously, not every woman with these traits has this condition. Backen's paper is intriguing, but most historians dispute its validity. For one thing, if the Queen had this condition, what is one to make of the love affair she's said to have had? Rumors have swirled for years that Queen Elizabeth I had one true love. His name was Lord Robert Dudley, her horseman.
She had one great weakness, one great passion, I believe. Just one. That was Robert Dudley.
Dudley was extremely attractive. He was close to her in that he was made master of the horse, and so he was physically close to her, spending time with her when she was doing her favorite activities, hunting and riding. I'm pretty sure from the descriptions that Elizabeth was, as I said, in love with him.
Her letters to Dudley hint at their closeness.
You are like my little dog. When people see you, they know I am nearby.
But as Queen, Elizabeth had to be careful of her public image. As she learned early in life, her romantic relations were never her own. Every decision affected the entire country. And as soon as she took the throne, there was one question on everyone's mind.
And immediately people say, you're young, who are you going to marry? We must have a male heir. And this dominates the first 10 years of Elizabeth's reign.
In 16th century monarchy, marriage was less about love and more about political alliances.
She would engage in marriage negotiations with foreign rulers. However, these negotiations are overshadowed by the presence of Robert Dudley, whom I think Elizabeth was infatuated with.
It has been said that Elizabeth led with her head, not with her heart. But she did struggle with her feelings for Robert Dudley, who, according to rumors, she wanted to marry. But it was impossible. Lord Robert Dudley was already married to Amy Robsart.
One of the great obstacles to Dudley's and Elizabeth's happiness was Amy Robsart. She and Dudley had married years earlier. They'd separated. Amy lived her own life while her husband, certainly when he became Elizabeth's leading courtier, Master of Horse, followed the Queen around the country. We know from Dudley's own letters that Elizabeth was jealous of Amy Robsart.
It's a 16th century love triangle. When Dudley's wife Amy falls ill, the plot thickens.
There were rumours about the illness of Amy Robsart, and it may have been that Elizabeth and Dudley were hoping that Amy would die.
Then in September 1560, Amy falls down a flight of stairs and breaks her neck. In the public's eye, the death of Dudley's wife isn't a coincidence.
Call for help, quick! Yes, quick! Keep moving!
Rumors spread like wildfire that Dudley had his wife murdered to marry Elizabeth. Was this calculated murder by two passionate lovers?
There are a number of theories. One is that Dudley killed his wife. From the evidence we have, Dudley was horrified that his wife had died. He realized this made matters worse, not better.
Another rumor claims that those who wanted Dudley away from the Queen had Amy killed. And yet another claims Amy Robsart committed suicide. But the biggest question on everyone's mind: did Elizabeth have anything to do with it?
It's possible that Elizabeth will have known what was going on if there was a plot. There is some gossip that Elizabeth was aware, but in the end, it's all so circumstantial that I would be very cautious about giving it any great weight.
After an investigation, the courts rule accidental death. Still, Amy's death ends any possibility of a marriage between Elizabeth and Lord Dudley.
When Amy did die, she died in such suspicious circumstances that Elizabeth's reputation would have been irreparably damaged had she considered marriage to Dudley. It was brought home to her that it would be political ruin if she went ahead and married Dudley.
Elizabeth denied they ever had a love affair. Friends, yes. But lovers? No. And no one could prove otherwise.
Although there were rumours that Dudley and Elizabeth were lovers, they did not come from the household of Elizabeth. They didn't come from people who would have been in the know. I don't think Elizabeth would have taken the risk in the first place, because one of the hallmarks of Elizabeth's character is that she's circumspect, she's cautious, she's politically savvy. She would not have taken the risk as far as I can see.
Whatever the truth, these rumors follow Elizabeth throughout her reign and her relationship with Robert Dudley. Then, 25 years later, the rumors flare again when a ship is said to have run aground off the coast of Spain. A man announces that he is Arthur Dudley, the bastard son of the Lord Robert Dudley and Queen Elizabeth. For much of her reign, Queen Elizabeth said she was married.
I have already joined myself in marriage to a husband, namely the Kingdom of England.
It is said she adored the title, the Virgin Queen.
He's English.
But there was one man who claimed to be the proof
I am Queen Elizabeth's son.
that she wasn't a virgin at all.
The one story I do believe, which should be investigated, is the story of Arthur Dudley, a young man of 27 years of age, and claims that he was raised in Worcestershire by one Robert Southern. This Arthur Dudley says he's the son, natural son, of Robert Dudley, the Queen, that the Queen gave birth to him.
Bolstering the story are records confirming there was a Robert Southern from Worcestershire at that time.
Arthur Dudley was taken seriously by the Spanish, and he was also taken seriously by the English agents sent out there to investigate.
He was 27 years old, which means he would have been conceived around 1560.
Now, if you examine this very carefully, you have Elizabeth and Dudley passionately involved with each other. We know that he had lodgings close to the Queen. Her own minister, Cecil, talks of the deep fervour between them.
Darty sees the possibility the Queen could have paid off one of Dudley's servants to keep her pregnancy quiet.
We have Elizabeth falling ill somewhat, and in a delirium, she says that Tamworth, Dudley's body servant, should receive £500 as a gift. What did Tamworth know? That was literally millions of pounds by modern-day standards.
Assuming Queen Elizabeth did get pregnant, could she really have hidden it from the people of England?
Every time she moved around the countryside, it sparked rumors that she was traveling because she was really pregnant and she needed to get away from London in order to deliver all these children.
If the story of Arthur Dudley is true, he is physical proof of an affair between Queen Elizabeth and Lord Dudley, and of the fact she was not a virgin. But most scholars find little credence in the story.
There were a number of Tudor imposters, some of them more or less believable. But no, Arthur Dudley was not the love child of Robert and the Queen.
Whether friendship or love, the relationship between the Queen and Dudley lasted many years.
She never really gave up. Despite the passing of the years, despite the fact that Dudley perhaps got married at least twice, this is the man that when he died, Elizabeth locked herself in a chamber and wouldn't come out. The door had to be forced.
Particularly as she aged, Elizabeth loved being called a virgin. It justified her decision never to marry. But it created a political crisis. Just who would succeed her?
Increasingly, it looked as though she had a way out of the religion and succession problem, which was to look to Mary Queen of Scots' son, James VI of Scots. She never officially confirms that he will be her successor, but as her reign goes on, it becomes increasingly obvious to everyone that he's the best candidate.
At age 69, after a long illness and period of decline, Queen Elizabeth I dies. In one of her requests to Parliament, she asked to be remembered as the Queen without a husband.
And in the end, this shall be for me sufficient, that a marble stone shall declare that a queen having reigned such a time lived and died a virgin.
Elizabeth took her secrets with her when she died. However, the debate over